The Royal Desserts Hour, directed by Rudy Vallee. Tonight's headliner, Boris Karloff.
Hi-ho, everybody. This is Rudy Vallee and Company. A year ago this week, we broadcast from London, England. To our many listeners there, greetings and thanks for the memory. An Englishman, incidentally, heads our cast tonight, Boris Karloff. Laughter for the evening has been placed in the capable hands of Eddie Yeast and Ralph Dumke, Sisters of the Skillet, and Tommy Riggs, who uncovers a new facet of the many-sided Betty Lou with the assistance of Irving Caesar, whose songs of safety, we are happy to say, are an enthusiastic success from coast to coast. Our Meet Such Interesting People department has unearthed a gem this week in Washington Lumpkin, Sandhog and Blaster on the new 6th Avenue subway construction job. Washington will be interviewed on life under Manhattan. To lend a touch of youth and Maytime to affairs tonight, we have brought the Colgate University Glee Club down from Hamilton, New York. 36 young voices and an eager willingness to raise said voices in song. Shall we run through once again lightly, Graham? We have with us this evening
The Colgate University Glee Club. Washington Dumpkin, Subway Sandhog. Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou Barry. Yeast and Dumke, Sisters of the Skillet. Irving Caesar and Boris Karloff.
Something tells me I'm falling in love. Something tells me you're sent from above. Not the stars or the man in the moon, though I'm certain they set the stage and opened the curtain. Something tells me my waiting is through. I hope something is telling you too. Something whispers that we'll never part, and something tells me it's my heart. Tonight we welcome back to our midst our old friends Eddie Yeast and Ralph Dumke. Some call them Eddie and Ralph. Others prefer their old title, Sisters of the Skillet. At any rate, they're an old established firm. Yeast and Dumke.
Thank you, Rudy, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, everybody.
Rudy, I suppose you've heard about our new job, running around with our mic, trying to find unusual things and people to talk about.
Yes, I heard that you boys had a brand new idea.
Well, it was about time. No. We are the roaming radio reporters. And with one exception, we've been successful in bringing to radio everything we've gone after.
What's the exception, boys?
Well, several times we've tried to take our mic out and interview the great Jesse Owens. You know, the great runner. But the trouble is that Jesse has never stopped running long enough to be interviewed. But he did promise that he would run right through here about this time tonight and say hello, didn't he?
Yes, sir. And he's keeping his promise, because, look, here he comes.
Yes, sir. Here comes the great Jesse Owens.
Yes, sir. He's running along the side of the studio, headed right for the stage. So listen carefully for his greeting as he passes the mic. Here he comes. Listen.
Yow, sir.
And now he's gone around the room. He's coming back past the mic once again. Here he comes. Listen to his greeting.
Yow, sir.
And thank you, Jesse. Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, still searching for something different to bring you, we take our mic and go out into the highways and byways looking for something new.
Yeah, you know Fred Allen has a feature called Folks You Didn't Expect to Meet.
That's right.
While other programs have all kinds of visits with folks and neighbors and relatives.
Yeah.
So we propose to go right out into the neighborhood and find someone that we hope we'll never meet again.
You know, that's a great idea, Eddie. And we can call our feature Uninteresting Neighbors.
Yeah.
Or Why Didn't We Stay at Home?
Yeah. Well, that's the idea, so let's go right out into a neighborhood and see if we can't find an uninteresting neighbor.
All right, here we go, right out to a neighborhood. Zip. Boy, radio is marvelous,
Yeah, it's
isn't it?
marvelous. You go
Standing right in front of a nice little home, and we step right up and ring the bell like this.
Now, of course, this might turn out to be somebody interesting, you know.
What do you bet? How do you do, sir?
We're Eddie and Ralph from the radio. This is a microphone. We'd like to ask you a few questions and have a little visit with you.
What for?
Oh, just a little visit.
Just a friendly call.
You know, for the radio, it's fun, you know.
All right, come on in.
We'd like to know something about you.
Yeah, you know about your life and things like that. Now, we'll just sit here. You just talking to this little microphone. That's it. You just hold the mic yourself like that. Now, what's your name?
Joe.
Joe what?
Just Joe.
I see. What do you do for a living, Joe?
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Did you retire from your job or business?
No, just quit.
I see. How long ago?
Long time.
Well, what happened? I mean, anything of interest happened when you decided to quit work?
Well, I got a little money that I quit.
I see. Where'd you get the money?
I won a ticket. $150,000.
You won $150,000?
$150,000?
Well, it wasn't all clear. I paid $2.75 for the ticket.
I see. Well, now, will you tell us, how did you happen to pick a winning ticket?
Well, I'm smart.
You what?
I'm smart.
Yeah.
I had a dream, and I figured out the dream. That's how I knew how to pick a winning ticket.
I see. Well, tell us about that.
Well, one night I had a dream.
Yeah.
I dreamed I saw 3 sevens.
Yeah?
They were great big sevens floating across the sky.
Yeah?
So I figured 3 times 7 is 24. So I bought the 24th ticket in the book, and that's how I won.
No, now, wait a minute. 3 times 7 is not 24. 3 times 7 is 21.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I won anyway. I'm smart.
I see.
Well, I guess that's about all the time we'll have here, Eddie.
Yes, I guess we better get back to the studio. Here, Mr. Joe, I'll take the mic. You just hand me the mic.
No, I don't want to.
You don't want to what?
Don't want to give it back to you. You gave it to me, and I'm going to keep it.
No, you can't do that. Here, give me the mic.
Come on, Joe, give us some mic.
Yeah, don't start being like that now. Come on now.
I'm not going to do it. The mic is mine. I want it, and I'm going to keep it. Just like when you go to a ball game and a batter hits a foul ball, you get to keep the foul ball, don't you?
Yes,
I get to keep it.
Yeah, yes, but this mic is not a foul ball.
That's what you think.
Now, listen here, Mr. Uninteresting Neighbor. You can't keep this mic. Interviews don't end like this.
Yeah, this one will.
All right, then we'll have to take it away from you.
Better not try it. I'll throw you both off.
Yeah, that's what you think. Come on, Ralph, let's take it away from you.
Watch him, Eddie. He's as strong as an ox.
Come on, let him have it.
All right, come on.
Hello, everybody. Hiya, Bob. Hiya, Pop. I'm glad I won.
Another first launching of a new English composition, the pretty little patchwork quilt. Many years ago, when Grandma was a girl of sweet 16, she began to make the sweetest patchwork quilt you've ever seen. All the years that followed after saw that pretty pattern grow. Every piece of silk and lace recalling days of long ago. In that patchwork quilt that Grandma made, there's velvet, silk, and rich brocade. Every night on the bed it's laid, the pretty little patchwork quilt. There's a patch of red, a patch of blue, a touch of black for Grandpa too. Souvenirs of a love so true in that pretty little patchwork quilt. When twilight is falling, how tenderly her hands caress a fragment of satin that was taken from her wedding dress. Now the patchwork quilt is old and frayed, but every patch that Grandma made brings a dream that will never fade from the pretty little patchwork quilt. Murmullo de la noche, or let me whisper. I love you while we are dancing and the moon's aglow. Let me whisper I love you while we're romancing. Let me murmur low. For each other here under the palms, or let me whisper I love you. You're so entrancing, dancing in my arms. Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou Barry in the 40th episode of The Amazing Adventures of Betty Lou, who gets into more trouble than any three little girls. But is very nice about it. Far from being a bad example, Betty Lou, by serving as listener-in-chief for the safety songs of Irving Caesar, has helped a lot of other little boys and girls to stay out of trouble, which is what Mr. Caesar's songs are for. Of the helpful Mr. Caesar, more later. First, Tommy Riggs and Betty Lou.
Oh, Betty Lou. Betty Lou.
Here I am, Mr. Tommy.
Well, where in the world have you been? I've been looking all over for you.
Oh, I've been fixing things. That's where I've been.
Fixing things? What kind of things?
Oh, things and lots of different things and things, too.
Now, what have you been up to?
The 8th floor.
I mean, what'd you get into?
Your dressing room.
My dressing room? What'd you go up there for?
I just had to see if what everybody says about it is true. And it is, too.
Now, what do you mean? What does everybody say?
That your dressing room always looks as though it had been struck by a tomato.
A tomato? No, Betty Lou. I guess you mean a tornado. I admit haven't had much time to concentrate on the proper assorting of my fairly extensive wardrobe, and perhaps I'm not exactly meticulous about keeping my room in a state of precise orderliness.
Well, my Uncle Petey is sloppy, too.
Betty Lou, I'm not sloppy, and I may be a bit careless, but I'm not sloppy.
Well, you'd never know it to look at your room, Mr. Tommy.
I see. Well, so what about it?
So I cleaned it up for you, don't you?
Don't I what?
Don't you think it was nice of me? Even if you don't have as much up there now as you had before.
I think it was a very sweet and lovely gesture. And wait a minute, Betty. Did you break something up there?
Yes, I did, too.
Well, I might have known it. What'd you break?
Your drinking glass. It was on the washstand.
Oh, is that all? Well, don't worry your pretty little head about that. I thought, well, something serious had happened. How'd you happen to break it?
Oh, I just broke it. It slipped out of my hand.
Oh, I see.
Yes, it slipped out of my hand when I was throwing the water.
When you were what?
When I was throwing the water on your new suit.
No, the suit that the tailor just delivered, you were throwing water on. You know better than to do that.
Well, yes, but I couldn't just let it hang there and burn up, could I?
Well, no. You mean my new suit's burned up?
Oh, but you can have it fixed. It's all right, except for a kind of a big hole in the front of the coat that sort of goes through to the back.
Well, that's just fine. And how did that happen?
Well, he was leaning against the suit lighting a cigarette, and when the matches sort of all went off at once.
Who was lighting what cigarette?
The man who was packing up your suitcases.
A man was packing my suitcases?
Yes, you see, I couldn't reach all the things on the hooks, so I went down in the alley, and this man was only standing around, and he said he'd be glad to help me clean up your room. And he was the nicest man, too.
Well, what's his name?
Gee whiz, I'll bet you never heard one like it. Jimmy the Sniff.
Jimmy the Sniff? You had him pack up my belongings?
Oh, it was his idea. And he said all his friends were cleaners, and he'd have it done for you for nothing. They're even going to clean your jewelry, too.
Betty Lou, which way did he go with those suitcases?
Well, I thanked him for you, Mr. Tommy, and besides, he drove away with him in his automobile, too.
Now, listen, Betty. I know that you only meant the best, but try to understand this. That man was a thief. He's stolen practically everything I own. We've got to catch him.
Well, that certainly is a surprise to me. But would it help any if I sort of remembered the license number of his automobile? It was TR-29.
TR-29? That's the number of my new automobile, young lady.
Well, just imagine that. You and a robber with the same numbers. I guess that's what Grandma says when she says it certainly is a small world.
Well, Betty Lou, I think you need a talking to, and I know just the one who should give it to you. Irving Caesar, will you come here a moment?
Well, Betty Lou, in hot water again.
How did you know that, Mr. Caesar?
Well, I've been listening, and I think you need a good talking to.
Well, that's what Mrs. Nelson said when I asked her to let me wash her baby. She didn't think I knew about hot water.
What's hot water got to do with it?
Well, that's how you tell about washing babies. Because if the baby turns red, the water's too hot. And then if the baby turns blue, the water's too cold.
Betty Lou, I'm afraid you still have a lot to learn about babies, and hot water, too. Now, if you'll just listen closely, I'll try to bring you up to date in the matter.
All right.
Water that's hot, water that's cold, they're not the same, need you be told. But if you can spell, then you will see C-O-L-D or H-O-T. Don't turn the faucet until you have looked, unless you have fingers that love to be cooked. Water that's hot, water that's cold, they're not the same, need you be told.
Irving, we've been hearing some fine things about your safety songs everywhere.
Safety does depend on a sort of cooperation between children and the rest of us, Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example.
A child should know how to look out for automobiles, but it helps a lot if the automobilist looks out for children. Now, Hot and Cold Water is really an intimate song for children, but it may mean just as much to many grown-ups I could mention, and won't. I've been in plenty of hot water myself by accident.
Who hasn't?
Well, exactly. Now, next week, I'm introducing a different sort of safety song. It's a marching song, the Safety Patrol. It sums up the safety idea, I believe. I've been teaching it to children in schools, and I'm bringing down a small crowd of youngsters to help me sing it. Boys, that is. Most of my songs are for boys and girls, but the Safety Patrol is a marching song for boys. And boys, by the way, I'll have a big surprise for you.
You mind if the Yankees and I join in with a song?
If you can be heard over that crowd of schoolboys, you certainly have iron voices.
Well, you don't always coo yourself, Irving.
I'm afraid I don't. But some of these safety songs should be sung a bit confidentially. You see, Rudy, like this.
Water that's hot, water that's cold, they're not the same, need you be told. But if you can spell, then you will see C-O-L-D or H-O-T. Don't turn the faucet until you have looked, unless you have fingers that love to be cooked. Water that's hot, water that's cold, they're not the same, need you be told.
And that's another safety lesson for you to remember, Betty Lou, unless you have fingers that like to be cooked.
Oh, no, sir, Mr. McNamee. I'll be very careful. But there's quite a lot of them, isn't there?
Quite a lot of what, Betty Lou?
Quite a lot of things to remember if I don't want to get cut or stuck or run over or cooked.
Yes, there are, Betty Lou. But it's a great deal easier for little girls and boys to remember these safety lessons if they know Irving Caesar's Songs of Safety. And that's why we're offering to send a copy of this song, Hot and Cold Water, the complete words and music, to all mothers and fathers who want them. Just send 3 package fronts from Royal Desserts with only 10 cents, and we'll mail your copy of the song, Hot and Cold Water, at once. And to make the song doubly interesting to the children, we will enclose, at no extra cost, a set of cutouts of a flower girl at a June wedding. And who do you suppose that flower girl is?
Me, Betty Lou Berry, too.
Yes, it's you, Betty Lou. It's you, as a flower girl at a June wedding. And there's a cutout of the wedding ring and the wedding cake, an old shoe and a bag of rice, besides your flowers and dresses, all in beautiful colors. The complete set of cutouts will be sent with your Song of Safety. So send in only 3 Royal package fronts from Royal Raspberry Gelatin, or from any other real fruit flavor Royal Gelatins, or from any Royal puddings. Enclose only 10 cents for your Song of Safety, and the cutouts of Betty Lou will be included. Address Royal Desserts, 420 Lexington Avenue, 420 Lexington Avenue, New York City. Now, please send in before next Thursday, because we're offering a different Song of Safety and a different set of cutouts each week. And say you want this song, Hot and Cold Water. Buy Royal Raspberry Gelatin and mail the package fronts tomorrow.
Another new English song, Phil the Fluter's Ball. Have you heard of Phil the Fluter of the town of Ballymook? The times were going hard with him. In fact, the man was broke, so he just sent out a notice to his neighbors, one and all, as how he'd like their company that evening at a ball. And when writing out, he was careful to suggest to them that if they found a hat of his convenient to the door, the more they put in, whenever he requested them, the better would the music be for battle to the floor, with the toot of the flute and the twiddle of the fiddle, oh, hopping in the middle like a heron on the grill, oh, up, down, hands around and crossing to the wall. Oh, had we the gaiety, it filled the fluter's ball. Oh, little Mickey Mulligan got up to show them how, and then the withered Cafferty steps out and takes a bow. I could dance you off your legs, said she, and sure as you were born, if you'll only make the piper play, the hair was in the corn. So Phil plays up to the best of his ability. The lady and the gentleman began to do their share. Faith then, Mick, it's you that has agility. Begorra, Mrs. Cafferty, you're leaping like a hare, with the toot of the flute and the twiddle of the fiddle, oh, hopping on the middle like a heron on the griddle, oh, up, down, hands around, across and to the wall. Oh, hadn't we the gaiety, it filled the fluter's ball. Then Phil the fluter tipped a wink to little crooked Pat,
I think it's nearly time, says he, for passing round the hat. So Paddy passed the cobbin round and looking mighty cute. Says you've got to pay the piper when he toothers on the flute. Then all joined in with the greatest joviality, covering the buckle, the shuffle, and the cut. Jigs were danced of the very finest quality, but the with a bit the company at handling in the foot, with the chip of the flute and the twiddle of the fiddle, oh, hopping in the middle like a heron on the griddle, oh, up, down, hands around, across and to the wall. Oh, hadn't we the gaiety that filled the fluters' ball?
The Royal Desserts Hour continues with Boris Karloff, Washington Lumpkin, Sandhog, and the Colgate University Glee Club still ahead of us. When we had head coach Andy Kerr with us some time ago, our upstate listeners were surprised by our intimate knowledge of things Colgate. The fact is, we have mysterious sources of information. We know, for instance, what Colgate is like on an afternoon in May. Unless things have changed, the willows are making lazy shadows on the lake below the hill. Bill Reed's ball team is working out on Whitnall Field, but there's no Honey Barnes behind the plate and no Clint Bloom on the mound. The maroon office smells beautifully of printer's ink, dried paste, and spring. The fraternity frosh are cleaning house for prom and dreaming dreams of sweet young things from home. Mamie Dunster is whipping up a coconut cake in the Sigma Chi kitchen. The beer is flowing like water in Bouckville down the road. And the ghost of the class of 1925 dozes in the sun on the chapel steps and remembers a song.
Colgate, alma mater, fairest theme of all our days. Colgate, alma mater, ever bless thy days.
To which we add, the Glee Club is weekending in Manhattan and liking it fine. Under the leadership of Professor Thomas Roberts, they sing a sea shanty, As Off to the Southward We Go.
The wind is free and we're bound for sea. Here cheerily, ho, 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 ho. The lassies are waving to you and to me. As off to the southern we go. As off to the southern we go. Sing as cheerily, heave as cheerily, heave away cheerily, ho, ho, ho. For gold that we prize and sunnier skies. Away to the southern we go. Away to the southern we go. We want sailors bold who can work for their gold. Heave away cheerily, ho, 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 and stand a good wetting without catching cold. As off to the southern we go. As off to the southern we go. Sing as cheerily, heave as cheerily, heave away cheerily, ho, 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 ho. For gold that we prize and sunnier skies. Away to the southern we go. Away to the southern we go.
Incidentally, in case you don't know Colgate as well as we do, the college has been located at Hamilton, New York, in the lovely Shenango Valley since 1819. The football team is usually better known than the Glee Club, which is not the Glee Club's fault. In evidence they submit, The Vale of Tuoni by Sibelius.
There, my Lord.
After they complete their chores here, the Colgate Glee Club moves 57 stories upstairs to sing at the Rainbow Room. The boys are all excited about that, too. They conclude now with the Colgate medley, Faith of Our Fathers and 13 Men.
Faith of our fathers, born of noble mind, pray in the face, in our spirits, find our spirits, firm as the hill that tower to the sky. Faith of the Colgate science and fast and never die. Live true to the memory of the 13 men of yore, whose faith made tradition that shall live forevermore, whose deeds give us courage to strive as they strove then, is the spirit that is Colgate, dear mother of men.
Colorado Sunset. Colorado sunset, good night. Bid my prairie sweetheart good night. Many moons have passed since I've gone. I'll be back at the break of the dawn. Every blade of grass where I roam whispers as I pass, hurry home. Hand in hand we'll stand beneath a moon and bid the Colorado sunset good night. It takes all kinds of people to make a town like this, New York. There are hundreds of people at work remaking New York at this moment. A block away from us, deep down under 6th Avenue, where drills and dynamite and steam shovels are boring a new subway tunnel through Manhattan's rocky core. One of these human moles left his job under 48th Street a few minutes ago to keep a date with our microphone. His name, Washington Lumpkin. Washington is a sand hog, a blaster foreman, and a hard-working, earnest citizen of whom his race may well be proud. He has labored underground for 35 of his 49 years, and he says he likes it. He actually comes to our stage direct from the subterranean depths of 6th Avenue with large quantities of Manhattan mud still clinging to his boots, raincoat, and steel helmet. I think you'll be interested in knowing more about Washington Lumpkin. If you don't mind, Washington, we'll go back a bit and find out how you came to wind up below the surface. Were you born in this part of the country?
No, Mr. Vallee. We Lumpkins came from South Carolina.
Whereabouts in South Carolina?
White Oak.
I'm afraid I don't know White Oaks.
It's easy to find, Mr. Valley. It's just 30 miles north of Columbia, 20 miles south of Chester, 40 miles west of Spartanburg, and 27 miles east of nowhere.
Sounds like Westbrook, Maine, only further south. What was your first job, Washington?
When I was 17 years old, I got a job on a tunnel in all of West Virginia.
And you've been digging ever since?
No, Mr. Valley, for quite a few years now. I've been letting the other boys do the digging. I've got 20 of them digging for me down yonder now.
In other words, you're the boss. I've heard that even bosses don't last very long in your trade. They tell me that the death rate from silicosis is very high.
That's true, Mr. Valley. My best friend died from rock dust in his lungs.
Aren't you afraid you'll get it?
With the Lord's help, I've been able to take care of myself, Mr. Valley, on the subway job. When it's much dangerous because we use water to keep the dust down. But you can get sick from working in water, too.
Sounds like a tough life. Just what does the blast foreman do, Washington?
He shows the drillers where and how to drill the rock, Mr. Valley. And then he shows them how to load and when to fire. He doesn't do, he knows.
I should think that after 35 years, you'd know about all there is to know about dynamite.
Nobody knows all about dynamite, Mr. Valley. Dynamite is a very sometimey thing.
Sometimey?
Yes, sir. Sometimey. It does, and sometime it don't.
Sort of a temperamental stuff, as it were.
No, sir. It just plain mean, like a bad upton woman.
Yes, I've met a few women who were dynamite myself. You have to be very careful.
Yes, sir. You can't afford to be careless with women or dynamite. The difference between women and dynamite is, with dynamite, nobody is ever careless more than once.
Have you ever been hurt by dynamite, I mean?
Yes, sir. But I was badly hurt only once.
How did that happen?
The way I figure it out, Mr. Valley, the Depression did it. It was back in 1932, and on account of the Depression, my boss was trying to do too much so he wouldn't lose his job. I know it was dangerous, but I couldn't afford to lose my job either. Well, because everybody was in a hurry, we didn't clean up enough after a blast. Do you know what a misthole is, Mr. Valley?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
A misthole is a drill hole where the dynamite didn't explode. That's this time. When we start drilling again, I drill right into a misthole.
I should say you're lucky to be alive and here tonight.
No, sir, I am alive. I am alive and here tonight because the good Lord protect me. When you do the kind of work I do, Mr. Valley, you believe in something more than luck. God was with me, Mr. Valley. He saved my eyes. He saved my life.
You're a man of deep religious conviction, I take it.
Yes, sir. If everybody was as near to dangers as I am every day of my life, everybody would be religious, too.
You go to church every Sunday, Washington?
Yes, sir, I do. I am a faithful member of the Amateur Baptist Church. But church going is only part of being a real religious man, Mr. Valley. When I go to work, I put God in front of me. When I am working, God is beside me. When I go home again, He still is with me. He is with me now. If everybody listened, would keep God by their side, they would all be happy people.
You are a happy man, Washington?
I certainly am a happy man, Mr. Valley. I've got my wife, I've got my work, I've got my Lord. He has kept and protected me all these years through trouble and dangers. I am a happy man.
And I envy you.
You don't need to envy me, Mr. Valley. You could be happy, too. If you will excuse me, I've got to go back to work downstairs. We were getting ready to blast when I left.
Well, watch out for those missholes, will you? Otherwise, we'll be hearing from you. Good luck. Many of you enjoyed the Hawaiian war chant, Kahu Wahu Wai, that we're going to present it again, and our gentlemen songsters are going to try to sing it in true Hawaiian style. The Hawaiian war chant.
Lady Opalupua, Adutukelua, Topetopela, Umulepa, Oputokolo. Odahuela Kadawa, Ukela, Ahawindela, Lady Opalupua, Adutukelua, Topetopela, Umulepa, Oputokolo. Ah, Wela, Ta, Ua, Ah, Ea, Ta.
Boris Karloff in Danse Macabre. Mr. Karloff's most recent appearance at our microphone was a memorable one. We recall his Armistice Day performance with a great deal of satisfaction. Tonight's play is of a different order, a frankly melodramatic thriller by Arch Oboler, whose remarkable imaginings on the Lights Out program, which happens to be my favorite program, have chilled millions of spines on Wednesday evenings at 12:30 during the past 2 years. The play was inspired by the Saint-Saëns composition of the same name, and the great French composer is one of two principal characters, played tonight by Harold Vermillier. Boris Karloff in Danse Macabre. Scene, a country churchyard in provincial France. Standing beside a small white headstone inscribed, "To the memory of my son, Louis," stands Charles Camille Saint-Saëns, already known as one of the world's great composers. It is night, very late at night, as Saint-Saëns weeps over the grave of his young son. A church bell tolls in the distance.
Is that you, Monsieur Saint-Saëns?
Who is it?
It's I, old Jack.
You're out late, my friend?
Yes. Sometimes I like to walk here among the tombstones. There are more of my old friends here than there are back in the town. I know, Monsieur Saint-Saëns. It is bitter to lose someone so young. It is only when one is as old as I that death becomes a friend.
Friend? The monster that took from me the thing I love most in all the world.
To you, a monster. To me, a friend. It is a difference of thought that comes to me, perhaps. Only because I have lived too long. The owl hoots. He tells old Jacques it's time to be home. Good night, Monsieur Saint-Saëns.
Good night, Jacques.
Do not weep too long, Monsieur. Your little one rests. And rest here in the quiet of our little churchyard must be very sweet. Very sweet.
Rest. My little Louis. Why you? Why you? I love you so, my little son. I was going to make beautiful songs for you to sing. Now... Oh, my son. Music. Here. Oh, that can't be. Yet I heard it. No. It was in my weary head. There it is, again. You out there! Fiddler! Where are you?
Right at your side, monsieur. Do not be startled. We have met before.
I know you.
Yes, monsieur. You know me.
You pardon me. It's so dark.
The moon will be out in a moment. Then you will see me.
The moon? No, you're mistaken, monsieur. There is no moon.
I am never mistaken, Monsieur Sanson. See, the clouds have broken. Look at me, my friend.
You!
You remember me.
The dark stranger. The day my son...
The day your son had a most unfortunate accident.
You were the one to pick him up. You held him in your arms.
Yes. I held him in my arms.
When you handed him to me, where did you go?
I'm a very busy man, monsieur. I go many places.
I never had a chance to tell you how much I appreciated your help.
My help. You loved that boy.
He was my life.
And without him, life is empty.
It is.
So you come here every night and weep by his grave.
How did you know?
I, too, come here every night.
I never saw you?
I did not wish to be seen.
Ah, you, too, have a sorrow.
Sorrow brings men close together.
Yes.
Your boy. He would have had great talent.
A voice. Crystal clear.
And now he is silent forever.
Forever.
Why go on living, Sanson?
You said something, monsieur?
You and I are very much akin.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Did you not hear me play before?
It was you.
Yes, and you were the very first to hear me play.
The music, so strange. I thought I'd heard it before in my own mind.
You had heard it, and that is why. Listen to me, Sanson. Join me tonight.
In what, monsieur? You'll pardon me again? I don't understand.
You said your son was all your life. You meant that?
All my life.
Then why go on living? Your son is at rest here. Why not join him in peace forever?
What are you saying?
Life has been cruel to you. She has taken from you your son. Now he is at rest. And you can rest with him. No more sorrow, no more tears. It is yours for the asking.
But I am strong. There are many years ahead of me.
Your son is waiting.
But what can I do?
I offer you a way.
You?
I've been watching you a long time, Sanson, and I want you to join me tonight.
You said that before. Please speak plainly.
You and I are weary of life. Let us take the other path.
You mean...
With these.
Pistols?
Yes, with pistols. They offer us release, Sanson. Release from the miseries of living. Rest for our weariness.
The coward's way. Oh, no.
We are men of will, Sanson.
No.
Peace and rest.
I can't, I tell you, I can't.
It would be so easy to do. Together. Take the pistol in your hands. So.
Pistol is cold.
Life is colder.
And you, too, will do it?
Yes. You see, my hand, too, holds a pistol. I press it close up against my heart.
I never thought I would...
No, do not think. Do. Your little one is waiting. Your Louis.
My Louis.
Your finger curves around the trigger. You press the pistol close against your heart.
Yes?
Your finger tightens closer against the trigger. Closer.
What was that?
Nothing. Press the trigger, Sanson. The trigger, Sanson. Rest. Peace.
But didn't you hear? A knocking.
From the tomb.
Listen only to me.
But I heard it.
Listen to me. You must press the trigger. You must.
Master, it is time.
What voice was that?
Press the trigger, Sanson. Quickly, quickly. You first, then I. You cannot fail me. You cannot.
Master, it is time for the dance.
Madness is this. These voices, they come from the grave.
You must do it. You must. Press the trigger. You must join me. You said you would. All my plans. I waited so long for you. Do it. Fire, Sanson. Fire.
Master, we wait.
It is from beneath the ground.
I cannot fail. I cannot.
Hear us, Master. It is time.
To whom do they speak? They are the dead, and yet I hear them. Tell me, you fiddler. To whom do they speak?
Press the trigger, mortal. Press. Too late. I must play for the dance. So be it. You hear me, white ones? So be it. Arise, arise. It's time for the dance.
The graves. They open. They're dead. Arise.
Dance, my white ones. Dance. Come, Sanson, dance.
God, it's horrible. He plays and they dance. Bones. Dead men dancing. I can't watch. No. Who is this fiddler? He spoke to me of peace. And now this. Oh, unhappy dancers.
Dance, my white ones. Dance to my tune.
Fiddler. Who are you?
Does it matter who I am, Sanson? Oh, listen to me. If you take your life, you will be as my dancers are. A happy rattle of bones. A grinning joy dancing each night like those out there.
You. Death.
How quick you are, my friend.
But death is rest.
Ah, but there are two kinds of death, Sanson. One, kind, gentle. A death who gives the empty silence of rest to those who face life and fight it to the end. But then there is the other death, for those who listen to me, happy dancers to my music forever. Come, Sanson, the pistol. Join the dance.
No, my head. Stop talking to me.
Watch, Sanson, watch. My white ones dance so well for me. Listen to my music. You will join the dance. Dance, my white ones. Faster, faster, faster. Zig-a-zig, zig-a-zig, zig. Death knocks at the tomb with a rhythmic heel. Death fiddles are dawning a horrible tune. The wind of winter whistles, dark as the night. Groans come from the linden trees. White skeletons come out across the darkness. They run, they leap, each under his shroud. Zig-a-zig, zig-a-zig, each a miserable singer. Ah, come, Sanson, join the dance.
I don't know. My head.
On a sudden, they leave their world. They thrust each other back to their graves. They must. The cock has crowed. Quick, Sanson, quickly join them. Use the pistol. Join them before it is too late. Dawn is coming. Join them, man.
No, never. Look at them. Unhappy bones. No rest. No peace. I'll never join you. Never better life with all its sorrow than that. I tell you, I'll live out my life to the end.
Ah, but I've not lost Sanson. With you, I will never lose. Though you deny me, you will never forget my music. It will sing, it will ring in your head hour after hour, day after day, till you can bear it no longer. You will write it note for note, measure for measure, and all the world will hear my voice. Farewell, Sanson. You see, I am still victorious.
Every parent within reach of my voice should send for Irving Caesar's safety song, Hot and Cold Water Tonight. If you have the welfare of your youngsters at heart, you can't afford to neglect this weekly opportunity to inculcate the principles of safety. For 3 Royal Gelatin box tops and 10 cents, the song and the Betty Lou cutouts are yours. The address is 420 Lexington Avenue, New York City. The Vallée Company moves on tonight to Hartford, Connecticut, where tomorrow we begin a 6-day engagement at the State Theater, hoping to break possibly the record. Returning, of course, from next Thursday's broadcast with a large cast, it will be headed by Miss Grace George in a scene from Somerset, Mom's great comedy of marriage, The Circle. now being successfully revived on Broadway. This is Rudy Vallee bidding you all good night.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.